Chapter 9. The Weight of the Veiled Path. The sun had barely risen when Hanzo and Sun Yi slipped out of the house to continue their conversation from the night before. They walked slowly, side by side, heading towards a quiet spot near the edge of the valley where the morning mist still clung to the ground. It was time to discuss matters too serious to be heard by the boys. Hanzo, his voice calm but firm, began the conversation. Sun Yi, you know I don't mind the boys practicing the martial arts. They're eager and I don't want to stifle that. But there are lines they mustn't cross. Sun Yi nodded, his expression thoughtful. I understand, Hanzo, but you also know what's at stake. These undisciplined clans. I know, Hanzo interrupted gently, but they are not ready for the veiled disciplines. He glanced at his old friend. I have never wanted them to even hear about it. They're still children. The amount of personal discipline it takes to remain pure in those practices, it's not something they can comprehend yet. I understand, Sun Yi said, his tone softening. But you can't deny that these clans, these wicked groups, are growing bolder. They're targeting towns and cities like ours, looking for any way to gain power, sometimes through fear, sometimes through control. What do you think would happen if the boys aren't prepared? Hanzo's brow furrowed, a shadow passing over his face. I've kept them away from the darker forces for a reason. The things you can do with the veiled, even at the lowest ranks, are dangerous, Sun Yi. The destruction a person can cause is unimaginable, and without the proper cultivation, it will destroy your body. Sun Yi nodded, acknowledging the truth of Hanzo's words. But these clans, they won't stop, and if we don't do something soon, they'll overrun us. You've seen the way they operate. They use their power, their control, to tear apart the fabric of peaceful towns. If we don't act, Hanzo, we risk becoming casualties in the war they've already started. Hanzo stopped walking, his jaw tight. I know why we band together, Sun Yi. I remember why we swore to keep balance in this land. But I will not let my sons be a part of the veiled. It's my job as their father to protect them, no matter the cost. I won't risk their lives on some dangerous path they don't understand. Sun Yi met Hanzo's gaze, his voice soft yet resolute. I respect your beliefs, Hanzo, but if they don't learn, if they're not prepared for what's coming, you might just find them standing on the wrong side when it all hits. You may risk them becoming a statistic, just like the rest of the towns that were too proud or too ignorant to see the danger. Hanzo's face hardened, but there was no anger in his eyes, only a deep concern. That's a price I'll pay. I'd rather protect them and keep them away from that world. It's my duty as a father. The tension in the air hung heavy, but both men knew the strength of their bond. They had both lost brothers in the same cause, fighting to keep peace in a world that had no patience for it. Hanzo's twin brother had perished in a feud with clans that had grown too greedy, too power-hungry. Sun Yi had lost his two brothers to the same fate. Their bond ran deep, woven together by shared pain and the weight of their choices. As the conversation drifted into a silence, Xing Xing, who had been cooking breakfast inside, overheard the conversation from the open window. She stood still for a moment, her hands frozen as she listened. She knew well the cost of their decisions. When she finally spoke, her voice was soft but firm, betraying none of the doubt or fear she felt. You both know how much I value the peace we've built here, how much I value our family. But you also know that I would never allow the boys to stand by idly while the world burns around them. If they have to walk that path to protect us, then I won't stop them. Hanzo turned sharply, his gaze softening as he saw his wife standing in the doorway. His heart heavy, he walked toward her, pulling her into an embrace. I just don't want them to suffer the way we did, Xing Xing. She rested her head on his chest, her voice barely above a whisper. I know, love, but sometimes the world won't give them a choice. The two men exchanged a long look, an unspoken understanding between them. Sun Yi's eyes held the weight of their shared past, while Hanzo's gaze carried the determination of a father's love. For a moment, there was no need for words.